Hello, this is Mole Man in the morning. Good Mole Man to you.
Hello and welcome to Mole Man in the morning.
Good moment.
Ooh.
And he's dead.
Oh well, better call Dr. Nick.
This would have been perfect for the soundboard.
Yes, albeit the
If
soundboard's
only it
built
worked
into
that way.
Yeah, it's built into Discord, so it wouldn't actually come through on the recording. So like I can, if I really cared and
You
wanted
could
to make
edit it in,
I could
but
edit
you don't
it in,
care.
yeah. Like
You don't care.
Like I only care enough to edit all the pictures into YouTube. Like why would I care about putting sound effects in?
Yeah, it's fair. We get it. We get it.
Hi, everybody.
Speaking of YouTube, hello to our YouTube audience.
Hello, YouTube.
Aye, we put the title podcast in it, so you know what it is.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots.
The one and only comment, which I've now deleted because my channel is not a free speech zone, is someone whinging that they clicked on it and didn't know it was a podcast. There we
Yeah,
go.
just-
We've told you this is a podcast, dipshit.
Just so you know, Simpsons episodes don't generally tend to be 2 hours long. That should have been the first giveaway.
I mean, also, Simpsons episodes probably... I mean, not that I've done a great deal of looking, but I don't think Disney tends to like them being just freely available to watch
Yeah,
on
completely
YouTube.
on YouTube.
Yeah. So,
Mickey Mouse is more liberal these days.
Maybe they think because it's 2 episodes, they think, that's how they got around it, is by uploading 2 episodes at once, by doing double the crime.
Anyway, we are Mole Man in the Morning, and we are not 2 episodes of The Simpsons. We are a podcast that's going to talk about 2 episodes of The Simpsons. Are we clear on this now?
Yeah.
I don't know. Could you go by it? Could you dumb it down a bit?
Explain like M5.
This no actual episode.
Explaining it like I'm 5 is apparently like ordering a coffee in France.
Explain like I'm a caveman.
2 coffee, 2.
Oh, an idiot abroad.
I am your host, John. I am joined, as ever, by 2 co-hosts. Joining me today are Michael
Adley ho, podcast arena.
and Matt.
I'm gonna say it, guys. I need a catchphrase.
There we go. I got them the right way around this week, so you couldn't usurp the thing.
I couldn't usurp him. Couldn't be done.
We are here to talk about 2 episodes of The Simpsons. As already observed, we are looking at Lisa's First Word and Homer's Triple Bypass, 2 episodes from Season 4 today. And by the time this episodes go out, things might have happened in the world. So,
Yes.
who knows
We're on
what's going on
We're,
when
we're
you
on
watch
the
this.
eve. We're on the eve of something apparently.
Yeah.
We are on the eve of American democracy possibly completely crumbling.
Yeah, we dabbled with including news a few podcast episodes ago, and news is happening again. Yeah.
News is happening.
So let us know in the YouTube comments, are we living under fascism? Who knows? Who could possibly say?
I, for one, welcome President Kang.
Don't blame me, though. I voted for Kodos.
I voted for RFK Jr.
Well, you wasted your vote.
As did Homer, who's big on third-party candidates.
As we established last episode.
Right. Drinking. Is anyone drinking anything?
I am. I bought a lovely amber ale from Heatherwood called Shark Bay.
Never heard of Heatherwood. That's new to me.
Here we go. There we go. There's the clatter.
Satisfying.
And, oh, God. I always forget how much amber ale smells like weed.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
a
there are
lovely
some
stuff.
hops that can do that. Yeah.
Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. You know, it's not going to rock my socks off. It didn't change my view on sort of flavoured hoppy stuff like Beyond the Binary. John's booze, let's not forget. I drank my last can of that the other day. Lovely stuff. Yeah, it'll do the job for an episode of Simpsons. It does kind of look like a bottle of Duff beer, to be honest.
Nice. Michael?
I am about to go on an all-inclusive holiday that will require 10 days of drinking, so I am wisely drinking a lemon tea.
Oh, you're preserving your liver.
I think you said it will require.
It's a free bar. What am I
Holy
supposed
shit.
to do?
Yeah, all-inclusive holidays do kind of require drinking. Otherwise, what are you paying for, really?
Is
I
this
am
a
getting my money.
cruise then? If it's
No,
a
it's
free
a
bar.
hotel.
Hot
It's-
damn.
It's a hotel in Cyprus. They're desperate for people.
COVID ruined us.
A lot of hotels and a lot of tourist
Yeah.
sort of regions tend to just, like, pour you infinite, very cheap lager.
Hey,
I did say I was
Who's
drinking
complaining?
quality lager. What are you drinking, John?
I went out and invested in some weird beers because obviously I couldn't let this stand where I didn't have any more weird beers in my fridge. So
Yep.
I've got Vocation Brewery's Death by Cherries, which is a fruit sour.
Ooh,
That sounds so awful.
Well,
sounds very cherry.
Yeah, cherry's kind of a classic one. Belgians have been brewing with cherries for centuries, so.
Yeah, and already just like the cherries themselves are very, very distinct flavour. I don't feel like I'd need the added alcohol on top of that.
I've got to be honest, that's interesting. Most cherry beers do just taste of cherries and not of beer. This one you can kind of taste the beer, and it feels weird because of it, because I was expecting this just to be like boozy fruit juice. There we go. That's my opinion on that.
You should have poured some schnapps into it.
Oh, God, I think that's quite enough for a Monday night.
Fair point.
Let's hop on into Lisa's First Word, which aired on December 3rd, 1992.
We all know what happened in history on this day.
Tell us all about this day.
Okay, so the Greek oil tanker, the Aegean Sea, which was carrying 80,000 tons of crude oil, ran aground approaching La Corona, Spain, and spilled much of its cargo. Also, the UN Security Council passed Resolution 794, which authorized US-led Allied forces to intervene in war-torn Somalia to restore order and allow humanitarian aid to be delivered. That went well long-term.
Yep, everything was fixed in Somalia after this point.
Yeah, no, nothing ever happened in Somalia ever again.
They never made a film about it.
Yeah, no Tom Hanks appearances. US and UK number one. I'm going to be honest with you, this segment is now dead for the next couple of podcasts.
Yeah.
Yay.
The song is the infamous I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, the soundtrack to the acclaimed film The Bodyguard. I have never seen it.
I don't think this stays at number one as long as End of the Road, though, so I think we will have other music before our season's out.
I think it's pretty covered for Christmas, though.
Oh, yeah.
I was rather hoping this was the year Mr. Blobby was the UK number one, but I think
Oh,
that's the
Lord.
Mr. Blobby.
Oh,
What a
God.
horrifying creature.
Horrifying slice of British culture.
My mum met Mr. Blobby.
Really?
Yep, that's the end of that story.
I went to Blobbyland at some point as a child. Because
Jesus.
they made a theme park around him at some stage.
Oh, yeah, no, they just left it abandoned.
Yeah, I don't think it went well.
20 years. Oh, bless Noel Edmonds, you on your evil ways. Anyway, let's get on to this episode, shall we?
Go on then.
Dive on in.
Okay, so the chalkboard gag is teacher is not a leper.
Hilarious.
Not a winner this week.
First note, Simpsons really big on lepers all of a sudden. Why lepers coming up so frequently?
Funny to laugh at the disabled man, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe someone on the writing team had leprosy.
Jesus.
maybe.
Conan,
Yeah.
Conan looked a bit ill.
Conan looked a bit ill. Conan, you look a bit iffy there. I think you might be a leper.
I think it does fall very neatly into the category of 90s cruel humor of, hey, that's a funny disease. Let's poke fun at that.
Point and laugh. Point and laugh.
The couch gag is slightly more memorable, as this one does crop up in several episodes of The Simpsons going forward. Probably because it cost an arm and a leg to animate the bloody thing. But,
yeah.
The can.
We get practically a circus line, and this thing gets a bit out of control with the dancing elephants and the fire breathers in the background. With circus music and the whole shebang.
I'm just looking this up, and this will appear 14 times. They get some mileage out of this one.
Again, if I had gone to that effort to animate an opening joke with that much detail, I would want it used more than once.
Yeah,
That was probably not cheap.
This is the most commonly used couch gag in the standard definition episodes. Apparently there's another one in the once they go to high def that also runs as much.
Yeah.
We start with the family gathered around Maggie, and basically they're trying to get her to speak. Marge tries them up, the slightly innocent, can you say Baba? And Bart goes with, can you say get bent?
It's
So-
just Mr. Rogers says it all the time.
I don't remember that episode of Welcome with Mr. Rogers. I forgot.
It was a good one.
I forgot what his bloody show's called. It's somewhere in the neighborhood or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't remember,
I've
to be
never watched
honest.
it.
I don't think it was a very. Did it air in the UK at all? Like, I don't
Probably
remember
not.
it. I think
don't
it's just a
believe so.
very American thing.
It's
that one,
a
yeah.
very American thing that I am aware of who he is, but it's a very American thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the internet being what it is, like you're kind of aware of other countries' sort of culture. So yeah, it's come up in history and the internet, but like never seen an episode.
Yeah, I mean, we all know who Bob Ross is, but I don't think that aired either. We had Art Attack instead.
Yeah. My main point of reference on Mr. Rogers is that he did win the Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny.
He did. He did.
Good man. We then see that the family are trying several words to try and get Maggie to say. Homer trying his personal favourite word, daddy. Marge tries kitty. Lisa tries bebop. Bart tries
Weird.
shove it.
Yeah.
And Maggie eventually takes her pacifier out and everyone thinks she's going to talk, but instead she burps. Homer mistakes this for burlap. And Marge despairs about whether or not Maggie is ever going to be able to talk, which eventually leads to Lisa giving a nice little proverb of, remember, it is better to remain silent and be thought a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt. Homer's brain immediately panics and tells him to say something, so everyone doesn't think he's stupid. So Homer comes up
Takes
with,
one to know one.
and his brain actually congratulates him with the word swish. Like he's got a
Swish.
basket.
I like what is it? Worrying Mothers magazine
Fretful
as
mother.
well. Fretful Mothers magazine. Yeah,
This
that's
comes
good.
up a couple times, yeah.
As Marge is reading this, the magazine advises that if Maggie doesn't talk at age 1, they should get a corrective tongue extender.
Ew.
Yeah, how is that gonna help?
But is then curious to ask what his first word is, and Marge has an awkward flashback of her and Homer bagging and but accidentally walking on this, and I carumba is indeed his first words.
Ay, caramba. I mean, yeah, I'd say that if I saw Homer going at it.
Marge lamely says she doesn't remember, but it's time to begin the story of Lisa's first word. And we then see that Bart and Lisa want Marge to tell the story, including Homer, who calls her mum. And we then see that Marge begins the story of the spring of 1983.
Get ready for 1983 references, guys.
Yeah.
Are you aware of things that happened in 1983? You're about to be.
Has anyone else noticed that Springfield never actually looks like a city unless it's a flashback?
Yeah.
Even in the episodes when they want to go to a city, they don't go to Springfield. They go somewhere else. They go to Shelbyville or Capital City.
Capital City is the big one. I don't recall seeing much of Shelbyville. I always got the impression they were similar-ish kind of quote-unquote cities.
I'm trying to remember Shelbyville episodes now.
No, I don't think they do go to Shelbyville. I think that was just me misspeaking.
Yeah, you only ever get like glimpses of it when they have like a rivalry over like onions and things.
Lemon trees.
Yeah.
I remember the episode now. Okay, we'll get there eventually. So the significant events of 1983 are Miss Pac-Man striking a blow against women's rights.
Yeah.
And Joe Piscopo...
Do you mean for women's rights?
No, it says struck a blow for women's rights, so...
Yeah, you said against. So
Oh.
Mrs. Pac-Man bringing back the only men voting. You know,
Please,
really
Ms.
holding back the
Pac-Man.
women.
She's not married. She's a
Oh, my
strong, independent
apologies.
woman.
My apologies. Women can eat as much as they want,
Bigoted Project
including
2025.
ghosts.
Yeah, sorry for all women's rights campaigners. And
I'm not. You should work harder.
the opinions of the podcast host are solely his own. Moving swiftly on.
If you want it, earn it. You know.
We then see that the family... we then see that the family grew up in the east side of Springfield, and I don't know...
Barrio, apparently.
I don't know what the hell was happening here.
Wasn't
We see-
the Lower East Side of Springfield like the Jewish district in the Krusty episode?
Yeah, I
Really?
think so.
Because it looks
mean-
very similar, but we don't have quite the same sort of like intense.
Well, I think there's a lot of Rent references as well here, and that
Okay.
was also a Jewish written play, I think,
Okay.
if I recall.
We see a salesman trying to sell a chocolate chip ice cream sandwich,
Yep.
and the local kids dressed as 1890s orphans from Oliver Twist asking if they want to go play stickball. They do, but it's a video game version.
Yep.
Yep. Because
see
video
that-
games are out in the 80s. Video games are happening. Do you know about video games, guys?
Guys, video
Video
games.
We then see that Marge is talking about MASH. That's a show in the 80s, just so
Mm-hmm.
you're clear. And Marge is talking to two immigrant women that we have no context of who the hell they are.
One is Irish, one is Hispanic, and that is it. They're just like, these people live in these kind of houses. Isn't that the joke?
And they
I
know
guess.
and they know who acted in MASH. Great.
Yeah, and they've all got that bloody scarf in their hair for some reason.
It was the
Okay,
style at the time.
Yeah, the style
Because it was
went.
a style at the time.
Anyway, do you know what was in the charts in 1983?
Might it be Cyndi Lauper by any chance?
Absolutely.
As
Banger.
Homer walks down the street singing "Girls Have Got to Have Fun," Captain Lou Albano was chasing him, I suspect. But see, I know 1980s references. Yeah. Bart runs over to greet Homer by calling him Homer. Homer tries to correct him by saying he needs to call him Daddy. They get into a brief little back and forth about Homer, Daddy, Homer, Daddy. Bart pretends to say Daddy, that instead says Domer, which leads to him being strangled. We then get a nice little montage of Homer in the apartment with the family life, and Cyndi Lauper's Girls Still is playing in the background.
In a weird sort of chip tune kind of version of it, which I
Yeah.
kind of like, to be honest.
I don't know.
I didn't even notice.
We then see Bart leap off the television onto Homer's stomach, and we see that neither Bart or Homer know how to eat spaghetti properly. We then also cut to Bart swinging off the clothesline about 50 foot up high in the air, and Homer advises that Bart will tire himself out.
Naked,
time-
by the way.
Oh yeah, naked.
I'm always amazed at how many times in media they'll depict sort of a slightly overweight man, or in Homer's case, an overweight man living at like the top of a apartment building, and it's like, how are you overweight when you have to go up that many stairs? How
Probably
much
has an
do you eat?
elevator.
Or it has an elevator, but I mean, chuffing
I
hell
think-
American apartment buildings.
I think it's for the physical gag of the fat man. He lives up on the top floor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Spoiler alert: Bart does not get tired on the clothesline. He's there for a good amount of time as this now
It gets
dark.
dark, yeah.
We then cut to Marge telling Bart a bedtime story, and Bart is not tiring at all, and Marge has to improvise by
Then what
Giving-
happened?
giving the princess 30 sons and 30 daughters. Bart then asks for names, and Marge, in a very dozy state, says Brad multiple times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She then falls asleep, and we see that Bart starts watching Johnny Carson. He delivers a fairly well hi-oh.
Yeah,
I don't
just
get the joke at all. I assume it's some
80s.
sort of...
That's it. That's the joke. Is
Ba-
the 80s.
The Coast Guard arrested Boy George for scraping the barnacles off his dinghy.
Well, it's
I-
it's just
Am I
It's a
missing
the
naughty-
joke is that the guy that said "heyo" used to say like slightly racy things. So scraping the barnacles off his dinghy was like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Okay.
Not a good one, not a funny one, but that I am explaining the joke to you, and I am dissecting this frog right in front of your face.
Fair
I
enough.
hope you appreciate it.
That's what I wanted. I wanted the dissection.
I did sit there thinking, how is this gay slang? Because I assume that's what it was.
Yeah, I was trying to wrap my head around it. I was like, this doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, if I'm honest.
Yeah, the science class has not gone well, Matt. I'm very sorry.
Anyway, Bart likes a good hi-oh because he's a kid.
We then see that Homer is playing with Bart and plays the classic game of Got Your Nose. Bart counters with Got Your Wallet. That ends up down the toilet. Homer tells Bart not to do it again, and Bart beeps him on the nose, at which point Homer would have had justifiable homicide.
Yeah.
That's what there's a note I made. But at that point, Marge, thankfully for Bart, interrupts and reveals that there's going to be more love in the house. Homer misinterprets
start
this to
doing it in
mean
the morning?
which is not what is happening, unfortunately, for Homer. There is actually, Marge is pregnant, and Homer is initially delighted by this, but turns to see Bart flushing his keys and somewhat kills the moment.
With a Playboy car key ring.
Oh, was it? I didn't
noticed
spot
as well,
the
yeah,
detail.
He was,
I did not
he was
spot that.
holding it by the Playboy. It's one of
Ah.
those leather ones as well, like, that everyone had. My
Mm.
mum had one when I was a kid as
I
well.
know the type you mean. We then see Marge then tells Bart he's going to have a brother or sister, and this gets Bart's imagination working. we start with Bart scrabbling on the walls and Marge walking into the room and blatantly seeing Bart do this, then asking him who did it, and Bart blames the baby.
A bad baby.
We also see Bart using the baby as a ramp and using the baby's diaper to clean up a spill.
I just loved the visual image of the baby with the board on its head because it's just like a sack of potatoes. It doesn't react, it doesn't move or anything. In Bart's imagination, it's just baby, just blob.
It is an absorbent, inanimate object that can be used to take the blame.
Yep.
Yep. We then see the family at the kitchen table, and Marge says that they've got to get a bigger house, and Homer's brilliant plan is that the baby can have Bart's room, and Bart will sleep with him until he's 21. Marge's response to this is, will that warp him? And Homer's response to this is his cousin Frank did this. It's then pointed out he doesn't have a cousin Frank, but he became Francine back in 76 and joined a cult. His name is now Shababula.
Mother Shabubu.
Mother Shabu. This was a weird bit.
This was a gross bit.
Okay. This is the 90s, folks.
I know.
I'm sure this sounded hysterical back in the day.
I'm sure it was, yeah. But I don't know. Today in 2024, as a trans person, I am going to struggle to get over dead naming and using transition as the butt of a joke and explaining it as way as because he had a warped childhood, I guess, is how they're going to pitch it.
Yep.
And then that's going to lead him to a mental illness that allows her, I suppose, to join a cult. The fact that they keep calling Francine him is also, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been one of those weird things because, again, even the comedies that we grew up with, like Friends and stuff, still had this kind of joke of what is the punchline? Gay. Or in this case, trans. And that's the punchline. It's just so weird. It's not even... I'm almost, it's because obviously I'm not trans or anything. I'm just offended by the lazy writing of just... Well, what's the actual gag? That they're trans. That's not a joke. That's just you saying the word trans and then leaving it at that.
To give it more credit than it probably deserves, Mother Shabubu is quite a funny name. It's a funny word to say.
Mother Shabubu is a pretty name.
Well, Mother Shabubu, you owed an apology.
I'm so sorry, Mother Shabubu.
You deserve better.
You deserve better. You did. 07 to Mother Shabubu.
Bart is left at Patty and Selma's house, and to earn himself $1, he's got to sing the Little Teapot song with a itsy bitsy spider melody, and it's quite the medal. It's quite the transition in the song, I must say.
Yeah, it's clever. Good on Bart.
Homer and Marge visit the stinking fish realtailor, and and we realise that Homer and Marge's budget means they've got to get the house in the rat's nest. We don't get a little
neighborhood colourfully referred to as the rat's nest.
We don't get a montage of the houses available, and the first one starts with a blatantly just house where someone's just been blatantly murdered in.
I'll be back.
Written in blood. We then see that the next house is quite nice, but unfortunately it's next to the pork rendering plant.
My note here: buying a house in Bradford.
Yeah. And that's sofa plant. I know exactly what you mean. And despite the salesman's pitch that once you get used to the smell of hog fat, you wonder how you went without, it's not for the sale.
I just love that Homer loves it. It's just like, pork fat.
But then we cut to the actual plant itself, and two plant workers can smell an unpleasant smell, and this is revealed to be Homer.
It's just such a weird bit. Homer smells worse than the pork rendering plant.
Yep.
We then see that the sea captain makes another appearance, and he's trying to sell a houseboat. Unfortunately,
making use of that guy.
They love this guy all of a sudden. They've created, this is, I guess, was Conan O'Brien's creation as a character, and I guess they got really into using him as a character. Like, oh shit, this guy's great. Let's shoehorn him in everywhere. Which, is true.
I also agree. Why buy a house when you can buy a houseboat?
I mean, I've thought this often, I'm going to be honest.
I would love a houseboat, man. It'd be great.
Probably wouldn't put shag carpeting in the galley, though.
Absolutely would.
It's a boat. It's going to get wet. Oh, it's going to be gross.
If you bought a houseboat, I would come over in the night and put shag carpeting while you slept.
My parents actually own a vacation houseboat. I have no idea if it. I have no idea if it has shag carpeting, my word.
Is it like a timeshare thing where they get it a certain part of the year, or is it actually theirs?
Oh, no, they actually own it. It's docked up
neat.
somewhere in Leicestershire, I think.
That's awesome. Have you been on it?
Yes,
How do you not know if it's got shag carpeting or not then?
it was 2 years ago, and I haven't seen it since, so it might have been put in.
All right, well we know a project for Michael this weekend then. Go to the houseboat and put shag
Install
carpeting
shag
there.
carpeting.
I will not be in the country. That will not be happening.
Better
Well,
time to do it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You've got an alibi.
Well, unfortunately, for Captain McAllister and his shag carpeting, Jaws arrives, and the captain's going to go off and have a fight with him. But then
It's just so weird.
He then resubmerges in the shark's jaws while selling the virtues of this carpeting. And we cut to the next house, and it's just filled with cats. And Homer says it might be all right if we can get rid of the cats, but it turns out the cats own the house, and they'd just be tenants.
You'll be their tenants. I did love the whole vibe of a real estate agent just having to sell anything, you know, and it does remind you of like having to upsell when you work in retail. Of the like, no, make sure they also buy this. It's like, how? They don't want it, and your manager's like, yeah, but make them want it. And I just thought, no, I don't care enough. If they want to buy a Bosch green, they can buy a Bosch green. I'm not gonna make them buy a Bosch blue.
Speaking of green, at least 2 of the cats in this house are green for some reason.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
They must have been polluted from the chemicals from the hog rendering factory.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's it. It's definitely it.
I've tied it all together. The kids lament the fact that they could have lived in the kitty house, and Bart's upset that he couldn't train the cats to be his army of darkness.
It is amazing how they still felt the need to be like, hey, Bart exists, when this is an episode about Bart.
Yeah.
Because any of Bart's like lines in the present day really felt like the same kind of vibe of like, oh, hey, Bart's here.
Yeah, it's good to get him in.
No!
We then see back to the flashback that Homer and Marge finally see the house that they're currently sat in, and as Marge says, imagine what we could do with the place. Homer then imagines a TV
Couch
and a
and a
couch.
TV. Just, you know, Homer's amazing imagination really shining through there.
Unfortunately, Homer's dream falls apart because he can't afford the asking price. And we then cuts back to Homer in his father's house, and we see that Homer's asking his dad for advice, and Abe says, why has Homer come to him? Because all he had is his good looks, and now they're gone.
I feel like every time we have like an extended conversation with Abe Simpson at the moment, it is him having a breakdown.
This does end with him crying.
That poor man.
And Homer asks him while he's crying if he's done, and Grandpa says, not yet.
I'd love the opportunity to do that if someone was heartless enough when I'm having like a clear mental breakdown to just say, are you done? That I could just say, not yet, and keep going. Just keep going down the rabbit hole of sadness.
Homer reveals that he needs 15 grand to buy the house. Different times, house pricing, obviously.
Yeah, my parents paid 80 grand for this house. Like, that's crazy. Like, any house these days that costs 80 grand is going to be an absolute fucking shithole.
Yeah, this house is... I hadn't clocked the figure there, but the amount he needs to buy his house is less than he spent on a snowplow last week.
Yeah.
The American economy is quite
Well, what,
something in the
15
90s.
grand? That's like just over 10% of what Homer makes in a year.
Yeah. Again, The Simpsons has very much refused to acknowledge Homer's salary steadfastly. Like, the 80 grand thing is just us. But yeah, he should be able to afford this house comfortably.
Grandpa reveals that the only thing he's got is his own house, which he built with his own 2 hands. Homer then points out that's a lie and that Grandpa won it on a crooked 50s game show. Grandpa then says that he ratted out everybody and got off scot-free, which leads to a high five.
What was this game show that involved him ratting people out?
That sounds like a very contemporary game show. Like, that's the kind of games like they try to do these days, like the traitors and whatnot.
I have a suspicion that was probably a McCarthy joke, and Grandpa was naming the contestants as communists.
Oh. Smart.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, good on Grandpa Simpson. I don't know why pointing that out was enough to convince Abe to sell the house, but whatever.
Because he's like, hey, you just won a house. You don't have to buy that. I mean, yes, he still lives there, but I guess he's like, oh, yeah, I guess I didn't actually pay anything for this. This house was free. Yeah, I might as well sell it.
So speaking of things that you won on game shows, how many of you have seen a bullseye boat? Just out of curiosity, since we're over 30 minutes in. Yeah, in real life.
No.
Yeah, so I live near one in Birstall.
Really?
Birstall. Birstall. Just sell the fucking boat. Like, what are you gonna do? Sail it? You're in Birstall, mate. That thing hasn't moved. It's just like you can just tell that the guy won it or his dad won it, and they're just like, nah, we're gonna sail it one day. And the wife is just desperately like, we could really use the like $5,000 you'll get for that boat.
That boat has sentimental value.
I thought you meant legitimately like it had like I'd like a picture of Bully or something like sprayed on the side of it. I was like, oh yeah, no, the guy's still got the branding and everything.
The ghost of Jim Bowen sticks his head.
Yeah.
It's a bullseye.
Here's what you could have won.
Oh, good times. Simpler times. I miss game shows where you won things.
Yeah.
Money is boring. And I'm sick of... So, go for it.
It's something I've observed on a few occasions to a few other people, anybody who cares to listen, is that game shows like have really gone downhill because it wasn't just you won stuff. You won stuff that was worth stuff. Like,
yeah,
you go on a show now, you're lucky if you can, like, top prizes are like a couple of grand. Like, it used to be like, they were just throwing money at you. Like, oh, you answered one question correctly, here's 10 grand.
Are you saying that winning potentially $2,000 on tipping point isn't worth it?
I'm saying there used to be some stakes. Like, if you went on TV, it was like, oh, you are going to come out of this thing
was life-changing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it really is like modern game shows really do just pay for a nice holiday.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching, to massively derail this, I was watching the Picture Slam, like the first season that came out with Alan Carr. Great show, really like it, but it was one of those where they'd forgotten to make sure that people say nice things when asked what to do with the money. And it was they asked, what do you want to do with the money? And this woman basically, explained surgery.
Oh, okay.
And I forgot that there is like a thing where they'll be like, look, we know you probably are on this show to get money for certain things, but please just say a holiday or doing the house up or whatever. Because if you lose and we don't give you the money, we look like assholes. And it's like, yes, you do look like assholes.
But also, like, that says a lot about society, that, like, people are going on game shows just to get the money to pay for the surgery that they need to live.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, you win nothing on game shows these days. Nothing.
But yeah, you would have thought they would ask her to do a second take. Like, you have camera, you can shoot a second take. It's not live, guys. You can ask her to say something that's not depressing.
I don't know.
Well, look out for me on Deal or No Deal next year when I enter to go get my nose job.
Michael with rhinoplasty.
Yeah, I'll look like David Hasselhoff.
Oh yeah.
Does anyone remember that reference?
Yep.
Good. Anyway, back to this.
Now,
Grandpa finally says that he will sell the house, and Homer is so touched by this he invites Grandpa to live with him. They have a very touching hug with the sentimental Simpson music playing in the background. We then come back to the present day, and Lisa says how long did it take him to kick Grandpa into the old folk home? And it turns out 3 weeks. And everybody,
they laugh for a really long time
everybody
at
is
this.
very delighted by this.
And I found this very uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, once again we're steering into 90s humor. Was very different. Like, yes, cruelty to elders, hilarious.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like we look at modern humor and we do think, yeah, modern humor has like a darker tone to it, but it's usually self-inflicted and kind of thing, or I don't know, it just doesn't feel as cruel. But maybe that's an example of why you don't notice the damage you're doing while you're doing it, kind of thing. I don't know. But yeah, like, just because it's just an extended laugh at putting Abe Simpson in a home. That's it. That's the joke.
Mm-hmm.
It's Grandpa. It's fine.
He'll be all right.
Yeah, it's where he belongs. We then cut to the next scene, and Homer's trying to bribe Maggie into talking with a cookie. Maggie tricks him by getting him to look the other way and nicking the cookie off him. Homer is upset by this and declares that Maggie has won round 7.
Yeah.
So this has happened 6 prior times. Lisa then asks when the story gets to the part about her first word. Homer has completely forgotten that this is the story they're telling and starts telling his own story about how he got locked in a bank vault with Mr. Mooney.
It was one of my classic capers.
Is this a reference to something I don't get? Who's Mr. Mooney?
It turns out that he's confusing this with the I Love Lucy show. Again, this is nothing to do with the 80s, by the way. This is like a 1950s show. This is Lucille Ball and
right.
so we're going way back in this.
There really are a lot of episodes of Simpsons where they're just like, this is for a very specific sect of the audience.
Apparently, this is for the I Love Lucy fans.
You kind of probably got to imagine a lot of people writing it at the time were probably like the age roughly generally we are now, and might very easily be like, what's a thing that everyone remembers from our childhood? Let's put a reference into that. It'd be like us writing a show and putting references in to The Simpsons.
But that's the thing. Like, this is a very. I feel like this has become a much more accepted notion in writing shows these days. Is that if all your show is references to other better shows, your show is shit.
I feel like Simpsons managed to strike a good balance. Like they are way heavier on references than I think basically damn near anybody appreciates, but also like they do get a lot of good humor in there as well, and a lot of very dated humor, obviously.
Yep. I was not prepared for that noise. As Homer asks, where were we? And Bart reveals that they're at the point in the story where Mum was preggers and Dad had thrown all the money down the sinkhole, and this begins the narration to the next song. The next scene. Sorry, I don't know why I said song. Brain.
Is that right? Is the house Bat calling the house a sinkhole a reference to the time when a sinkhole opened up under their house?
No, I think he's just saying that. I think he's just saying the house is shit.
It's a nice house, man.
In Bart's eyes.
Yeah, Bat's a piece of shit.
Oh, this is proved in the next scene as Homer carries the pregnant Marge over the threshold, and Bart walks into the new home and declares that it sucks.
Homer, this house sucks.
Homer then tells Bart he shouldn't say that word and tells him that he has to call him Daddy.
Yeah.
And we get another one of these arguments, and before Homer can strangle Bart, we see that Ned Flanders has arrived with his son Todd, and they're singing the Welcome to the Neighborhood song. And my God, it's irritating.
It just goes on and on. Homer still has his hands around Bart's neck the whole time. They're just watching, like, what the fuck is going on here?
I have got to admit, like, there as much as I have sung the praises of Ned Flanders, is a bit much sometimes.
Yeah, they're very, very a lot this whole episode, I guess.
Very friendly.
Flanders introduces himself. He says that the handle is Flanders, but his friends call him Ned. Homer immediately calls him Flanders.
He's got a t-shirt on that's a reference to a 1984 TV show.
Yeah,
is it really?
Yep, sure is. He's got I Heart Webster, and I guess there's some show about a kid called Webster that was on in the 80s. Yep.
Todd asks Bart to be his friend and hugs him. Bart shoves him to the ground, and Todd just declares that he's funny.
You're funny.
Then tells Homer, makes the mistake of telling Homer if he needs anything, just ask, and Homer wants his TV tray, even though Flanders has just literally bought it this very second. But Homer persists, and Flanders finally reluctantly agrees that he can borrow it for a little while. We then come back to the present. Homer's still using that TV tray 8 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So, some good neighborhood stuff there.
Yeah, Homer's a piece of shit.
Speaking of being a piece of shit, we then cut to Bart with pots and pans on his head making loads and loads of noise while
my God, yeah.
While the pregnant Marge is trying to relax. She politely asks him to be quiet, and Bart starts shouting the word quiet, and Marge has finally had enough and tells him to get out. So take that.
Yeah, pregnant women are scary.
Bart walks down the stairs sad with his pants still all attached to him, and Homer takes over the monologue by saying he's tough dealing with a pregnant wife and a troublesome child, but he still managed to get 8 hours of TV in.
Good on you, Homer.
We then cut to another Itchy and Scratchy cartoon where Scratchy gets his tail nailed to the floor as he's about to run the 100 meters race.
The 100-yard gash, which if like naming something that in England, that's not
different
what
meaning.
we wouldn't be thinking about a cat getting its skeleton ripped out. Not what we be thinking about.
No, there might be some blood.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Michael.
Anyway, this sets us up for some Olympics shenanigans.
Oh, God, the Olympics bits.
Because this happened in 1984. Did you know about the Olympics in 1984? Did you know this episode set in 1984?
Yeah,
Guys, 1984.
after Scratchy's skeleton wins the race and gets a endorsement deal on the Wheaties box, we then cut to Krusty and he
Do you know what,
declares...
actually, that bit did get me, the Wheaties bit. I don't know why, there was something about just like the photo finish straight into a Wheaties sponsorship. There was something about, that was quite good. I liked that.
Krusty declares that Krusty Burger is the meat-based sandwich sponsor for the Olympics. He celebrates this by forcing a weight to fall
No,
inside
hold on. Not meat-based sandwich, meat-flavoured sandwich.
Okay.
Not even a burger. It was a meat-flavoured
Flavoured
sandwich. That is truly horrifying. And speaking of meat-flavoured sandwiches, have you guys seen that the McRib is now available in England?
Yes, I have been told by several
Has
people.
anyone
that
tried
have-
it?
I was with people at the weekend that told me that they tried it and described it as a Rustler's barbecue microwaved rib.
Yeah, our mutual friend John has also tried it, and he said it's fine. Like, it's quite nice. It's not worth the money that you pay for it. But I looked at it and thought, that looks very sweet. And he said, yeah, it is. I don't
That's what I want on my barbecue, sweet.
I don't eat McDonald's, like, period, these days, but yeah, I've never been enthused about the idea of a McRib anyway.
I don't tend to keep track of what McDonald's are up to. I don't really eat it very often at all.
Why? I told you about the child labour, so I feel like, that's the main thing you should keep track of. If you ever think about, going back to McDonald's, just remember child labour, and then go eat at KFC.
Yeah, because they do nothing unethical.
I mean, not that I know of, and I will remain ignorant on KFC because I love KFC.
There's no ethical consumption under capitalism, so...
Exactly.
Well, unless you're eating KFC or too many McDonald's, you, like Sideshow Bob, should lift some weights, unless Krusty is behind you with a feather. Then it will fall on your throat and nearly kill you.
I would have been very, very surprised if they got Kelsey Grammer for that bit.
Yeah,
I don't believe he was in this, no.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been the shortest cameo ever.
Well, we'll get to the cameo that is in
There
this
is a
episode.
short, yeah.
But I can see why Bob framed Krusty all those years later, even if Bart found it humorous.
Krusty deserved it.
Krusty then announces that he's going to be doing a promotion, and basically they're going to be sponsoring all the Olympic events, and if America wins, you win a free Krusty Burger. We then see Krusty and a very awkwardly placed employee behind him.
Can I do a segue?
Of course you can do a segue.
Yeah.
Speaking of McDonald's, they did this as a promotion. This whole bit is literally, quite genuinely, what McDonald's did.
Oh, did it go
So
as
I'm
badly?
guessing
Did it go as badly?
I'm guessing the
It
amount
did.
of money that Krusty
Yes.
lost is what they lost.
The communists did boycott the Olympics, and it did have exactly the same consequences as it will for Krusty in this episode. This is just what happened in the 80s.
Just for the complete reference, and I'll get there first. Krusty's commercial ends and he spits out the burger, horrified that he swallowed some of the juice. And we see that Krusty then asks how much this promotion is going to cost him, and the sponsor and his advisor advises him that they've rigged the game so that they're all in events that the communists will win. Krusty's happy until he gets the wireless note saying that the Soviets have boycotted the Olympics. And then Krusty asks how much this is going to cost, and he gets the figure $44 million personally. Is that how much money McDonald's lost? Can someone find that out?
I don't have that figure to hand, but I do know it was they did basically the same promotion, yeah.
If
Quite
only
whether
they'd
it was
have
intended as
bankrupted them.
rigged, I don't know, but... also did find, entertainingly, the communist countries did decide to set up their own Olympics with blackjack and hookers, as it were. They called it the Friendship Games, which is quite funny.
That's so pathetic.
I'm not aware that there were any other Friendship Games. I think there was only the 1984 Friendship Games, so I don't think it went terribly well.
Well, the Soviet Union was the biggest police back then. We then see that Bart is clinging onto his crib and is refusing to let it go. even though Marge explains it's for the baby. Bart declares he's the baby. Homer decides they're going to use reverse psychology, and they walk away to leave the baby with his crib. This lasts all of about 2 seconds before Homer runs back in the room and starts playing on Bart's ankles again.
Yep.
But Homer has a brilliant plan, and we see that Homer gets to break out his handyman skills, and we see that Homer is aware that Bart likes clowns, so has built him a clown bed. We then get the slow reveal of one of the most horrific-looking clowns I've ever seen in my life.
Haunting.
Did anybody notice during the very, very brief building montage that the footage was just recycled footage from Making Wonder Bat?
I did not. That's amazing.
Oh, why pay for reanimation?
Well, yeah.
I then see that Bart gives the clown a voice, which declares if he should die before he wakes, before going into evil laughing.
Yep. That's the prayer before. Should I die before I wake? I pray the Lord my soul should take.
Yeah, it's the Sandman thing, isn't it?
I think it's just a prayer.
I think it is just a prayer.
I think it might be in the Sandman, but
Enter Sandman is using the same prayer as source material. Yes, but
yes, I'm just saying that song came out in 1992. So
yes, the Lord's Prayer as seen in The Exorcism. Yes.
Right.
Like the Sandman. I'll try to bring culture. Never mind.
No, we established this last time. We are not cultured.
We are not cultured because culture died after 9/11.
Well, we're only in 1992, so don't worry. We've got another 9 years of culture yet.
Woo!
Speaking of non-culture, Bart is having a nervous breakdown downstairs. They're thinking that the clown's going to eat him. Meanwhile, we get a nice another trans joke of the East German women have stayed at home.
Yeah, it's not really uncomfortably phobic.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even go so far as to say it's a trans joke, but it's like it comes from the same place.
It's not necessarily trans, is it? It's just because that's why I put phobic instead of trans, because it's just like the East German women get it because the men are disguising themselves as women so they can win a race, and it's like this feels uncomfortably realistic.
It's more that there was quite a big issue with communist countries doping with testosterone in the 80s, so a lot of your communist countries, your East German women did show up looking like they'd been on tea for the last 4 years because they had. And ask a trans man what tea will do for you today.
Well, despite the fact that he's eaten about 9 burgers already, his stomach starts growling, and he tells his stomach patience.
I didn't get that.
We then see that the race begins, and the announcer makes the point that the Americans are winning because basically none of the other countries have swimming pools, as we see the women drowning.
Yeah. It's also just, I don't know, that also kind of uncomfortable with that.
We then see that the baby is finally coming, and Homer declares that baby and a free burger, this is the best day of his life. And then we see that Mama's Family is on, and Homer declares that it now is the best day of his life.
It's only fair.
Another early 80s TV show.
Mama's Family. We then see that Ned is going to look after Bart while Homer and Marge are at the hospital, and Ned says that Ned tells him to enjoy the miracle of creation, and Homer tells him to shut up again.
Shut up, Flanders.
Then see Ned asks the kids what they want to play, and they're going to play Good Samaritan.
Good Samaritan!
A game that I know looks astonishingly like Jumanji.
Yeah. Oh my god!
except this version of Jumanji has lepers.
More lepers! More lepers!
Ned calls the kids over for supper, and they're going to have some liver, and Rod is super psyched about this because Iron helps them play.
Iron helps us play!
Bart declares he wants to go home, then looks out the window at the clown bed and decides that he doesn't want to go home.
I never realised that Todd was older than Bart. I just thought he was homeschooled.
I think they sort of mess around with the ages of these kids, to be fair.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
think
not
it's
sure if they're
consistent.
super clear.
We then see that Rod and Todd are now in bed with Bart, and they are
And
singing...
Rod is wearing a collared shirt to sleep.
And just singing loudly in bed, really annoyingly. Like,
With
I
his
swear
eyes
to God.
closed.
Again, I wrote justifiable homicide.
Yeah, that kind of is. At that point, I'm like, you can't be doing that in bed. I'm sorry. Shut the fuck up.
It's sleep time now. Go to bed.
Bart sneaks away, but while he's sneaking away, he unfortunately runs into an old woman who turns out to be Grandma Flanders, who greets him as "Hello, Joe."
Boy.
Hello, Joe.
Joe.
Hello, Joe.
We then cut back, and We see that Lisa has now been born, and Homer declares that he's set up a college fund at Lincoln Savings and Loan. I'm assuming that's another.
That's
yeah.
a reference. It is. Bear with me 1 second. I need to find the notes on that one. The Lincoln Savings and Loan suffered a scandalous financial collapse in the late 1980s, causing thousands of investors to lose their life savings.
Oh, excellent.
Yep.
No college fund for Lisa.
No college fund for Lisa.
Marge is reading Fretful magazine again. And says
Yep.
that it says that
She's had that subscription for a long time.
At least
She
9
says-
months, one imagines.
It says that Bart might be jealous of Lisa, and Homer's response to this is Bart can kiss his big yellow butt.
Hairy yellow butt,
Big
which
hairy
apparently is a
yellow
line
butt.
that the censors objected to because they were talking about it in the context of a 2-year-old.
The idea of hairy bums?
Just telling a 2-year-old to kiss his hairy yellow butt specifically was objectionable.
Yeah, I know, but just like it's like telling a 2-year-old to kiss your ass is fine, but if it's hairy, nah, that's weird. You made
It's
it
just
weird.
overly descriptive.
I guess so.
We then cut to Bart, and Bart is having an absolute mental breakdown in the corner as floating heads go around him, including the baby sleeps in the crib, the evil clown, hello Joe, Iron will help him play. He's having a bad time of it.
Iron helps us play.
Until Homer finally calls him into the room to meet Lisa for the first time. We then see that Marge is at the window with Lisa with the
It's just a
angelic,
beautiful shot, yeah.
with the angelic sunlight going down, and Marge asks Bart what he thinks of Lisa, and Bart channels good old Mr. Gamblin and says, "I hate you."
Not wrong.
We then cut back to the present day, and Marge has saved the newspaper from the day Lisa was born, and it's the "Where's the beef" thing again. I think we previously discussed this.
Yeah,
Fine.
this is everything in this podcast is very tightly interwoven, it turns out, even if we don't know it.
Yeah. We're becoming the new prescient, omnipotent beings. That's what's
Yep.
happening. If you talk enough about Simpsons, you start to predict the future.
We're just absorbing the powers through binging it.
Yeah.
We then cut back, and Patty and Selma are meeting baby Lisa for the first time, including thinking it's cute Lisa's coughing as they're blowing cigarette smoke into her face. Patty then kisses Lisa over her eye. Bart, feeling a bit jealous, says he's got a new song, and the response to this is "You're still here." Bart starts singing
That's
Ali.
so mean.
Bart starts singing Ali Wetsy, but he forgets how it goes and starts repeating himself. And Patty and Selma declare, "The older you get, the cuter they end, and are more interested in the baby."
Babies are boring. Bart at least sings.
We then cut to Homer on the last day of the Olympics, and we then see that they cut to Krusty, and Krusty is having a horrible time of it, declaring that everybody has pigs, and he's going to personally spit in every 50th burger.
I like those odds.
We then have and I assume this must be another reference of the Korean gymnast who makes a perfect dismount and has a broken leg, and we get a very uncomfortably long shot of this poor bastard landing on the dismount of the screen.
Screaming.
Did this happen?
Yeah, this is a thing that happened. It was not 1984, it was 1976 Summer Olympics, but there was a gymnast called Shun Fujimoto who indeed he injured himself on, I think it was the floor exercise, injured his right knee, and then went on to do like a bunch more stuff and had a landing, and yeah.
Oh, it makes my entire body pucker at the thought.
Yeah, there's a lot of sources that say he collapsed in agony. Apparently,
I'm not shocked.
No, he didn't. He did not collapse in agony. He walked off. He was later asked, would he do it again? To which his response was, no, I would not.
how very demure of him.
You know what? Good on you, sure. If you
Also,
still live.
yes, of course it wasn't. It didn't happen at the 1984 Olympics because they've already fucking exhausted every possible reference to 1984 they could make without referencing the fucking book.
We then cut to the boxing, and Homer's got his fingers crossed, and we see that our favourite Dedrick Tatum has knocked out a poor Swede, as Howard Cosell is calling it.
It does not look like they were in the same weight category, I've got to be
No,
honest.
I don't think that was fair. I don't think that should have counted.
We then see that Homer is dancing exactly like Tatum in the in the living room. And we then cut to Krusty Burger itself, and we're seeing that mass amount of burgers are being given away, and we get the USA chance, and Chief Wiggum is kissing pictures of Cole Lewis.
I thought he said he's kissing bitches.
Well, he might have been. I don't know what he did after he got his burger.
Krusty's out there kissing bitches.
Anyway, we haven't run out of 1984 references because Dr. Hibbert's going to make one.
Shut the fuck up.
Lisa apparently looks like a young Mary Lou Retton.
Who was an athlete at the 1984 Olympics.
Rastafarian Dr. Hibbert gives a lollipop.
A lollipop.
A lollipop.
Bart asks for a lollipop of his own, but unfortunately that was the last ones. But Bart's going to get something better, a rubella inoculation.
Why is he not getting MMR?
Had that been invented in 1984?
That's what I'm asking. I don't know.
I feel like that was a 1990s thing, but I'm not.
Well, I know the
certain about
MMR
that.
vaccine problem, the whole scare was. Well, actually, sorry, it wasn't a problem with MMR, the MMR vaccine. It was a problem with scummy, awful, disgusting, monstrous people. But it was called the MMR scare.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know actually when it was introduced.
I can see some notes at a quick skim of Wikipedia. It says 1988 might have been when it was first proposed.
Yeah, so that's why.
More of the story: vaccine your kids, morons.
Also, just random question. It's a shame we don't have anyone that could really have any authority on this. Because this happens a lot, like when a black character in a show is shown in like a flashback, they have like a very typical, well, in Dr. Hibbert's case, African American hairstyle or Rastafarian hairstyle in this particular case. Is that offensive? Is that weird? Is it odd? Is it like, well, they were young, so of course they had dreadlocks and beads? I don't know. Where is the line?
I think they're just sort of using it to reference black culture at the time.
Yeah,
which is what they're doing for that hairstyle.
I don't think,
because I think in all the flashback episodes, and I might be wrong about this, he has a different hairstyle on every single one of them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, my sort of, I mean, again, I speak with exactly as much authority as you on this, which is to say none, but like my impression of it was that it was more just a style at the time, like the women with the scarves in their hair at the start. It's like, it's what people wore in 1984.
But I think Michael's right as well, because I think in another flashback we saw Dr. Hibbert with an afro.
Yes, yeah, I think we have.
Yeah, and I think he's got like a fade top in the Maggie one when we get there.
So Simpsons.
Bart wants to hold the baby, but Marge says he's too little. Homer says Bart can hold his beer and just puts a beer on top of his head.
Mm-hmm.
I was treated the same as a kid because I was very much like Bart at that age, and yeah, I wasn't allowed to hold like baby nephews and nieces and stuff because they were probably genuinely scared I'd just throw the baby.
Well, maybe they were afraid you were going to do what Bart does next. In which Lisa is put to bed, and we see that Bart is hiding in the room, and he's got a pair of scissors. Marge comes in to feed Lisa and is left horrified by the fact Lisa is now bald.
And Bart says, "Who's cuter now?" It's fucking horrifying. It's like a horror movie, man.
Bart turns his stay in the corner. We then cut to the next scene, and Bart is trying to post Lisa in the mailbox. He's back in the corner.
Stupid mailman ratting on me. It's like, yeah, I don't think it was the postman's fault there, but...
We then see Flanders come back and reveal that Bart shoved Lisa through the doggy door, and as he returns the child, he asks for the return of his TV tray, but the door is slammed in his face.
Guys, Flanders doesn't have a dog, so that implies that Flanders' house came with a doggy door.
They'll overthink the joke.
Well, I'm gonna.
Homer starts to tell Bart to get back in the corner, then realizes he's already there.
Yeah, I like Homer's like defeat. So I was like, yeah.
But then cut to the next scene, and Bart is preparing his hobo biddle, and tells Lisa that she ruined his life, and he's running away. But as Bart's about to leave, Lisa finally does say her first word, which is Bart. Bart is completely overwhelmed by this, and brings Lisa back into the living room to reveal that she can indeed say Bart, which she does multiple times. Marge reveals the reason for this is Lisa thinks the world of Bart, and Lisa at this point is able to say words fairly freely.
Like quite vocal very, very quickly.
She can now say mommy and sort of muddles through David Hasselhoff.
David Hasselhoff. I fucking hate Aunt Baby's cute jokes.
Homer then asks Lisa to say daddy, and Lisa's response to this is Homer. And we go through the whole daddy Homer argument again, and but Lisa keeps saying Homer as Homer laments this. We then see Bart and Lisa laughing, and then they eventually hug. When we come back to the present day and they're fighting over who's sitting where, Bart reveals it's indeed him because he wrote his name on the rug. which prompts him to get yelled at while Homer takes Maggie upstairs. Homer
As
does
soon as they start talking, the sooner they start talking back.
And as Homer puts Maggie to bed, he says he hopes Maggie never says a word. And as he closes the door, we get one of the most iconic endings to The Simpsons.
Yeah,
in which
yeah.
as Maggie takes out her pacifier and says the words, Daddy, before putting it back in and going back to sleep. Elizabeth Taylor was brought in to say that line.
One word.
Wait, seriously?
Yes.
Holy fuck.
I assume that must not have been cheap.
Yeah, probably not. But although apparently they didn't promote that at all, yeah, so kind of a lot of speculation about who the actress was. I didn't pay too much attention during the credits. Like, did she show up in the credits or not?
It's mentioned on all the source websites about it, but I don't know if it
Oh
actually
yeah,
showed up in the
nobody was
credits.
looking at websites about it in 1982 though.
Oh, yeah, no.
Maybe it's not true and they just start
It's
saying it for the laugh.
Someone has to watch the credits now.
I'm scrolling through the credits on Frinkiac, and yeah, it does not mention her.
Maybe I've
I
got
think
that
it's
in
Oh
an
wait, no,
elaborate
sorry,
bit.
no, sorry, I've skipped it. Yeah, no, it is special guest voice Elizabeth Taylor. Yeah, she's credited.
What?
Yeah, okay.
Why? Why? What? That's so much wasted money.
This is when the Simpsons was successful. They could afford to throw a couple of grand at Elizabeth Taylor, I guess.
They're successful now. They have billionaire pillocks paying to be on the show.
Houses only cost 15 grand back then.
Yeah, well, again, TV. This kind of it does tie back. Everything is interconnected. We talked about game shows and how much money they threw at people just to like play games. Like this was true of like I think TV across the board in the 90s. Is like it was what everybody did on an evening. You didn't put Netflix on or play video games. Everybody sat around the TV, and like it was massive business. It was a huge source of entertainment and a huge source of ad revenue. So money was pouring into TV in the 90s. So like if they want to splurge and get a big actress in for one word, it is the same as just buying somebody a boat for play your cards right.
It's bullseye.
Or whatever. I don't know what game shows gave away in the 90s. I don't remember that much detail.
You disappoint me.
What do we think of the episode overall?
It's fine. It's perfectly fine. It was a flashback episode filled with endless references that weren't that funny. It was fine. It was fine. This episode was fine.
Yeah.
I would have, it's nothing brilliant about it, but it's perfectly acceptable.
I thought it would have been quite. I expected decent things out of it. Like it's a fairly famous episode. It's Lisa's first word. Maggie speaks and all that. But like, just left at the end of it with just way too many like jokes that have aged terribly badly. That's just like kind of left just a horrible feeling. It's like ugh afterwards.
Yeah. yes. Well, like there is the trouble of just a lot of phobic jokes that just don't live up anymore.
And just a lot of cruel jokes, like the grandpa in the home thing.
Yeah, just weird.
What are we giving out of Homer?
I will give it a baby's first word out of Homer. Probably just gibberish.
John?
I give it a free Krusty Burger out of Homer because you're excited to get it, but it has an unpleasant aftertaste.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
you're going to taste the juice.
Oh no, you've taken mine. I was going to say, I'm going to give it the 50th. I'm going to give it the 50th Krusty Burger out of Homer. It's nice, but Krusty spit in it.
Excellent.
Did it have anything to say about society?
Yeah, this episode took place in 1984.
Other than like the joke of like companies will do weird shit for profit and not for the benefit of the customer or a free burger, and sometimes it's nice that it backfires in their face.
I feel like them getting Grandpa to sell his house in order to buy it was an interesting observation on the property market that like feels like it could have been written today, because like that is a position many people find themselves in where like they're unable to get onto the property market without like their parents either giving them or dying or having helpers and passing on the house.
I think it sort of follows the pattern, isn't it? That you start off in a small apartment and then you have that first child, and then when you get the second child, you have to move into a proper house.
I suppose, in a certain sense, like they were already on the property market as well. They already had a place. They were just trading up, really. But yeah, I don't know. A little surprised to see people like making comments about property in 1992 that I'd expect to see made today, when my mental image of buying property in 1992 is,
You
it's
walked
easy.
outside and tripped over a house.
Yeah. I know my parents, their first house, I think, was about, it's been a while since I've heard this, so I may be misremembering the figure, but I'm sure I've heard the figure 20 grand at some point.
Yeah, my one of my friends, she's about 50 something. She bought a house for 25 grand, and it's an attached house on both sides on a hill.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's not an amazing house,
my
but
deposit for the mortgage.
is it £20?
20,000.
I've got a lot saved up for a deposit, but no one would give me the mortgage.
Yeah, my friend Antonio is having that same problem of trying to get a mortgage.
Yeah, like the fact that it's tied to your salary means that, like, even if you've got a decent deposit, like how much you can actually spend on a house is quite limited by just like literally just your salary, which is really depressing.
Without massively derailing this podcast any further, I think we can all agree that the property market in general, the whole thing of buying a house, getting a mortgage, working with a realtor, all of those interconnected businesses, it is completely fucked and backwards now.
Mm-hmm. I'm just, again, to bring us back to Simpsons, just a little surprised to see the Simpsons remarking basically the same thing, even if they don't necessarily make it super explicit, but like they're kind of making the same comments in 1992.
They didn't know how bad it could get.
Yeah.
You should have warned us, Homer. You should have warned us.
I think it's a thing that we're forgetting as well, that 20 grand, you have to factor in inflation. Like 20 grand sounds like very little, but 20 grand bought you a lot more. So 20 grand was a lot more to them back then. I think someone did the maths to be like what people would perceive 20 grand as if they like the equivalent number now, and I can't remember how they did it because they're really smart and it's maths and I'm stupid. But it was like, you would perceive 20 grand to be like 100 grand now kind of thing. And it's the same mental thing. So I don't know. It's weird. It's weird, guys.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw that one in an inflation calculator, just see what that worked out at.
1984, yeah.
So yeah, 20 grand in 1992 is like 45 grand today.
But even then, it's like could buy way more than what 45 grand would buy now.
I mean, part of the how fucked the property market is just that property has gone up way faster than inflation, and indeed, probably more relevantly, wages in that span of time.
Yeah. Anyway, on to the light-hearted subject of someone having a heart attack.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah.
It's Homer's triple bypass time.
Which aired on December 17th, 1992.
So, best thing I've got for you here is Gensuwa. I think I've said that right. Finds tooth of 4.4 million year old. I am not going to be able to pronounce this.
Australopithecus ramidus.
Yeah, I got that perfect.
Yep.
Well done, Michael. Michael, that was awesome. I'm really impressed.
Thank you.
That's so good.
I worked on that.
I'm glad you did, because I think it really brought something to the show.
Okay, number one.
Just pointing out a tooth. I found a picture, like, because again, Reddit holes. Someone made one of Isaac Newton's teeth into a ring, and it sold for 10 grand. That's the story.
Ew, weird. What?
You can buy a ring.
Okay.
It's actual physical
It's
tooth.
an actual physical tooth used as essentially the stone of a ring. So it's on a gold band, and then just a ring with gold filigree on it. 10 grand.
I feel about owning a part of a dead man, even if
while you tell us about the other things, I will find the picture because I sent it to a mutual friend. So.
It's fine, take your time. I have literally nothing else to tell you about. It's still Whitney Houston, number one. So I'll do the chalkboard gag while he's looking it up.
I've found it, so here we go. And feel free to put this in the YouTube.
Absolutely, YouTube folks. Have a look at a tooth.
Do you know what? It's actually a kind of good-looking ring.
Yeah, if you don't think too hard about the fact that that is a
size
dead
is
girl's tooth.
Sorry,
yeah.
I got the number wrong. 35 grand.
Okay.
So somebody robbed his grave, pulled a tooth out of his.
I don't think it
of
was
his skull.
robbed. I hope
No,
not.
somebody yeah, but somebody noticed that Isaac Newton was dead. When you know what, I'm gonna have his.
Yeah,
tooth.
that has to have been removed post-mortem, because if you look at it, that's like a clean root.
Is this a recent thing that was created, or was this created during his lifetime?
It was sold recently for 35k. It was not.
Okay.
I don't think it was.
You just think Isaac Newton just got really hard up for cash.
Yeah,
Right? It's like,
yes.
hey, place.
I'm gonna sell one of my teeth. It's got gravity in it. Guys, Simpsons.
Oh. Yeah, okay. Chalkboard gag. Coffee is not for kids. Although they do get a bit of a visual gag on this by having the lines get a little more squealy and erratic.
Half a point for some vague visual
Fun
effort.
fact: coffee
Yes.
does not give you energy. You're all just fucking placebo liars. You sad fucks. Coffee prevents you from getting tired. It does not give you energy. So having coffee in the morning is pointless.
So you need to take it at like midday
Yeah.
to prevent crashing in
And
the
that's the thing,
afternoon.
your body still gets physically tired. You just don't feel it. That's all coffee does. It is an
Yeah,
antagonist.
it just catches
It's
up
an
with you later.
antagonist
Yeah.
to the same chemical.
It's a
Mm.
pity Dr. Matt wasn't around.
And
in
it
this
also
episode. He could have,
tastes like
Homer
shit.
could have really used him.
You don't like coffee?
No, I think coffee is devil water.
Boo.
Yeah, I don't like coffee
Fucking
either.
foul,
It's,
man. Give me a cup of Yorkshire tea any day.
it's
Can you
too
tell we
good.
don't want to talk about this episode, guys?
I have very few notes, and
Same.
it's quite an episode.
Okay. Well, the couch gag, the family shrink to microscopic size and struggle to get onto
I
the
giggled.
sofa.
It was funny.
I didn't even notice the couch gag in this. That's how forgettable it was. Like I came back after and I was like, "What was the couch gag? I don't remember."
It got
I
a
just
chuckle out of
blanked
me
on it.
because of its simplicity. Like the whole point of the couch gag, if you want to get really analytical about it, which is my purpose on the podcast, other than to be a fucking miserable twat, is that it's a subversion of expectations. You expect them to sit on the couch, and they don't do that. That is the whole gag, and the simplicity of just they're tiny. I don't know why it got me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the same one. I think I said the one of the ones that really got an audible laugh out of me was when they sit in the couch and they all fall back into the couch and their legs stick up. That one got me too. Simplicity is the key.
Well, I'll tell you what's not simple. A parody of the television phenomenon Cops in the 90s, but this is Cops in Springfield.
This got so irritating.
And it's time for Bad Cops, Bad Cops.
Bad cops.
Yeah,
bad
they start off on a
cops,
really
bad cops,
fucking lousy
bad
joke
cops,
of
bad cops,
Wiggum trying to talk a
bad
guy
cops,
down
bad
from
cops,
committing
bad
suicide
cops,
and
bad
failing and
cops,
calling him crazy for doing
bad
it.
cop. That's yeah.
I mean,
Suicide, funny
Yeah,
guys, right?
hilarious.
Yeah,
Oh, he's
yeah,
crazy. 'cause
We
he
all
killed
laughed.
himself. Woo.
yeah.
I mean, they pull things out of Jasper's beard.
That got
they
me.
find some
That
money.
was funny.
I think the song got better as it went along. And they actually
The
introduced
song was
lyrics.
all right. Yeah.
When they introduced lyrics, it got
Yeah,
better.
when it actually had like thought into it.
They're watching a drive-through movie. They're watching heroic cops on the television.
Mhm.
No, wrong number.
then
This
see-
is 912.
We then cut to Chief Wiggum thinking they're about to catch a cattle rustler, and they break the door down. It's Reverend Lovejoy's house. Turns out they've got the wrong house. It was next door. The one that had all the cattle
Yeah.
outside. We then see that Snake drives off saying, "Close, but no donut cops." We then see Wiggum try to put the APA out, and he has absolutely no idea what he's reporting, and he just says, "A car of some sort."
Do you know what?
I think he
This was again just Hank Azaria being fucking perfect. He's in some sort of car.
But he was happy to say the suspect was indeed hatless.
Yeah, he was
Suspect
so
was hatless. Repeat
confident on
hatless.
that.
Homer watching this at home and declares that he can't wait to see his hatless butt get
Yeah.
thrown into jail. We then see Marge say that Homer shouldn't eat food in bed, and we see the visual gag of Homer being absolutely surrounded by a whole
Oh
four-course
god,
meal.
that's fucking heaven, though, isn't it? Imagine getting served that in bed.
In Homer's defense, he is drinking Diet Cola.
You know what?
Yeah, that was at least something, yeah. Homer declares that his heart is just fine, but then he grabs his chest. Marge worries what's wrong, and Homer just says he's trying to get the turkey down, and he gets it down and goes
Have you
back
had
onto
that
eating.
though? The bit where something does just get stuck in your throat, and now, like when you were young, it happened very rarely, and when it happened, you were just like, "Oh, I'll just fucking push through this." When it happens that you're over 30, you're like, "This is it. This is the end. I am 30. I'm having a heart attack. Everything's wrong. Oh no, wait, I just swallowed turkey wrong. I'm fine. Back to eating.
I mean, like,
more times than I would comfortably like to admit.
okay, I'm glad this isn't just me, but also, like, I genuinely thought something was wrong with my digestive system compared to other human beings for a long time, so I am relieved to hear other people actually suffer this. But I think I do get it a lot more than most.
I think I'm pretty certain there is something wrong with my digestive system.
I think I just eat with way too much vigor.
I, a couple months back, managed to do it eating a grape, and it stayed there for hours. I didn't manage to swallow that for like 4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours? It happens to me for like 40 seconds.
Most of the time, yeah, it's a few seconds. This one time I was like, oh, this is okay. I'm not sure how we deal with this now.
I had that with a paracetamol once, and that was awful because every now and then I'd cough, and the sugary layer of the paracetamol had gone, so I would just cough onto my tongue raw paracetamol.
Oh, I have done that with paracetamol before. Yeah, that's grim.
It was fucking foul for a day. I was drinking water constantly to just try and get it down. The whole day was ruined.
I had a couple of months back. I had a Skittle get stuck in there, so my solution was to eat more Skittles.
Knock it down.
It worked, but it was painful. It was painful. We then got to the next day, and the kids are eating oatmeal, and Bart tells Lisa there's been a train wreck, and asks, "Does he want to see the victims?" Lisa agrees to this rather readily before Bart opens his mouth to show the sea.
I did that.
Why would Lisa think that Bart just had pictures of train wreck victims ready at the breakfast table?
Because kids are conveniently stupid or smart when they need to be, and should not be in television shows. All television shows should be an alternate world where kids don't fucking exist.
Lisa is horrified by this, and Bart says they should bury them at sea, and he just basically spits in it. This causes Lisa to shout out for Homer, and Homer again clutches his chest. Bart inquires what's wrong. Homer says that he's got the sensation of 1,000 knives of fire stabbing him in the heart.
Got that right now.
But he pushes through because he notices there's some bacon.
Yeah, I mean, man's got his priorities. Heart attack, bacon. I mean, easy choice.
Just a thought that's only just occurred to me. Who is the bacon for? Like, Marge is about to reveal that she's made oatmeal for Homer. The kids are already eating some sort of cereal or oatmeal or something. Who did Marge cook bacon for?
I think
Maggie, clearly.
Maggie.
Marge says that she's got a surprise for Homer, and Homer imagines that the surprise is a suckling pig, which tells him that the
best meat's on
tells
the
him
road.
that the meat.
Weirdly sexual pig.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to derail things because, as you rightly observe, we do not want to talk about this episode. Has anyone ever watched the old the BBC TV version of The Hitchhiker's Guide?
No.
I've not seen the BBC version.
They have like a version. It's clearly just a guy in an absolutely atrocious costume, but they have basically a cow that can talk, and it invites everyone to eat it, and it's got that kind of creepy, disturbing vibe of an animal being like, "Hey, why don't you eat my butt?"
Do you want to have an interesting fact about the different presentations of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Let's talk about that.
There's actually a reason why every showing of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the TV showings, the movies, the book, the radio play, they're all different, is because it's either at the beginning or at the end of the book, they mention a probability engine. So every time the story is told, it's different.
Interesting.
So it's an actual canonical thing that the story cannot be the same. It's just fun. It's just fun. There's a reason why the film was different.
Before, but
because loads of people didn't like the film because it was so different. It's like, no, that's the point. I mean, I don't really care for the story anyway, but I thought that was neat.
I particularly enjoy it, but I never did like the movie version of it.
The meaning of life is not
That's
42,
the one
and
version
if you say it in front of me, I will bottle you.
No, okay. Well, yeah, canonically that was wrong anyway.
No, but that's the point, is it? But everyone goes, oh, 42, meaning of life, la la la. It's like, you clearly weren't paying attention.
Can I get back to Homer and his oatmeal?
If you must.
What was in that oatmeal? It looked like apple slices.
Oh, apparently it's a pug.
Yeah.
Because Homer sarcastically thanks Marge for the oatmeal, but has to get rid of it because there's a bug.
Bug. I
Even
think it's
Marge...
pug.
Bug. We're past the pig. Homer instead starts eating the bacon again, and Bart does point out there's a bug in it, but that doesn't stop Homer. We then cut to Homer driving to work, and he's behind the home of Edgar Allan Poe, which is just conveniently being towed on a truck.
I'm
By
fairly certain,
Hans Mole Man.
I'm fairly certain Edgar Allan Poe was born in a city, but whatever.
No, he was
He
born
was
in
born in
the
a
house.
house. Fucking of course.
Homer starts ramming the truck off the road because he's been slightly inconvenienced by it, and Mole Man's glasses unfortunately
Now
fall off.
you've
And,
done it.
I haven't. I'm ashamed to confess I haven't really been keeping track, despite the name of the episode. Is this the first time we've seen Mole Man as we know him, as the
Yes.
unfortunate butt of many jokes,
Yes.
and basically in a Kenny from South Park kind of format?
The only other time we've
I
seen
don't recall
him,
him doing anything
the
else.
only time we've seen him speak was the driving license thing.
Yeah, when he was Ralph Mellish. We've seen him since then, but I don't think he had a speaking role. I think this
Yeah,
is
he's
the
just
first
been
time he's been
around. This is
just killed for funnies.
this is the first actual Hans Mole Man bit.
Yeah.
Homer's road rage is out of control, but he starts hearing a horrible thumping noise. He drives off the road as Mole Man and Edgar Allan Poe's house burst into flame and drive off the cliff.
What a
Poor Mole
sad
Man.
piece of history to lose.
No, don't worry, he's in the next episode.
Well, I meant the house.
We don't see that Homer is at the gas station and a mechanic is looking into what the thumping noise is.
I just
and
love the
it
way
reveals
Homer says it, though. I keep hearing this horrible arrhythmic thumping. And the guy's like, I think that's your heart. And Homer's like, oh, good, I thought it was my transmission. Like, your transmission wouldn't make that noise. And also, it really got me. I really liked this bit. It was really funny.
A random kid then comes out and asks where Homer's going, and they try to use the reference.
Do you know that
of,
old beat-up
an old car.
jalopy that we couldn't fix? We're gonna sell it to Mr. Withers. You're a dull boy, Billy.
No, Mr. Nick. No, it's to Mr. Nick.
Yes, I know, but I didn't remember the name, so I just picked a name out of random.
Could have at least made it Greek.
I forgot that it was Greek. My point was the funniest bit of the joke for me was, "You're a dull boy, Billy."
Yep, he is a dull boy.
He is a dull boy.
Then Homer is then at work stuffing his face with donuts, and Mr. Burns is looking on enraged that Homer's doing this on his time. We don't get the sinister music as Burns leans forward, telling Homer to keep eating because he's about drawing closer to the donut.
The poison donut.
Burns laughs evilly, then asks Smithers if there is in fact a poison donut. And Smithers reveals that no, there isn't because the lawyers consider it murder.
Curse their oily hides!
He then cuts back and sees that Homer's fallen asleep and demands Homer is brought to him.
Oh, man.
We then see that Homer is in Burns' office and we get the picture-in-picture of Homer's heart. As Burns reveals that he's brought Homer in for a friendly hello. And Homer calms down and then he's told, and goodbye because he's fired. And we see Homer's heart speed up. Burns then declares that maybe he's being too hasty because Homer is highly skilled. And Homer calms down again.
Slacking off.
The heart rate goes up at that. He then tells Homer he's the kind of guy that he could really dig. And Homer calms down and then
A grave! I think we
then
can all
says-
agree, once again, that Burns and Smithers just massively improve an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Burns then tells Homer that his indolence... I don't... I'll deal with
He
this.
says, your
indolence-
indolence is inefficacious.
Homer then just stares at him blankly and then reveals that means you're terrible. This is enough, and Homer's heart goes completely insane and then shatters like glass.
This was the most vivid, yet unrealistic, yet most upsetting visual of a heart attack I've ever seen.
It ain't great.
Because heart attacks have been in media, obviously, for a long time. They've been a gag in, loads of sitcoms, which is really dark, but whatever. But I don't...
Well, it's a common everyday occurrence, unfortunately.
There was something about this visual that genuinely unnerved me. Did anyone else be really creeped out by, not creeped out, but just unnerved by this visual, or is it just me?
I remember seeing it for the first time as a child, and it was very unsettling.
There was something very jump scary about it. Just the sudden changing and scratching and obviously TV static thing. I was just like, oh god, no.
Then see that Homer's collapsed to the floor, and Smithers declares that he's dead as Homer's spirit begins to fly out of his body.
Hey, Need, I'm dead.
Burns-
Apparently, there's one very tiny animation detail that they were very keen to include, but you probably wouldn't necessarily pick up on it, I guess, which is that his spirit never actually fully, completely
leaves his body,
loses contact with his body to show that he's not quite dead.
That. Yeah, because I was like, oh yeah, I it always did feel like his foot was still touching,
Yep, yeah, they did that
Yeah,
on
no,
purpose.
his leg-
Yeah,
yeah, his
that's
legs didn't
neat.
come out, did they?
I thought that was just like a stylistic choice. I didn't think it was like an actual deliberate.
Mm.
That's clever. That's actually really clever.
Burns then declares that they should send a ham to his widow, and Homer, upon hearing the word ham, turns to his body. He comes back, and it turns out Smithers declares him alive, and Burns is quite pleased about this, but he cancels the ham.
I've got a question for you guys then. So if your spirit hasn't quite left your body, what is the food that would bring you back? That you'd be like, okay, you'd be like, do you know what? Eternal bliss, don't need it. Ham is on the table. Because for me, I think it would probably be a full English, a proper one, served at like not a spoons full English. I'm talking like a proper pub full English. That would be enough to get me back in my own body.
That would be a weird thing to send to your widow, though.
A lamb roast dinner.
Lamb is actual peak meat. We can all agree lamb is the best. Guys, we should deep fry lamb. All right, John, come on, hit us.
So we can end up in Homer's condition.
What is your terrible hipster wanky covered in fruit choice? Come on, give us it. Come on, ruin my day.
I don't think I got anything that would bring me back from the dead.
Man, you would wish for eternal wishes, wouldn't you? You are no fun to play these games with. You really put the cut of my jib.
Well, it's not for one to try. I'm just like I'm like, what is a food that is good enough to bring me back from the dead?
Are you just that nihilistic?
Maybe.
Evidently. Almost taken away in the ambulance, but it stops still at a deer cross.
How do they know to cross there?
We then see Marge at home as they're going through the coupons again, which include for Mr. Blister Cream. And Marge receives the phone call that Homer's in hospital with his heart, and Patty and Selma have a moment of shock.
Oh my God.
That's only because there's 5 cents off wax paper.
God, I really do hope I never get to the point where I'm sat looking at a voucher book. That does sound truly depressing.
Mm.
Then cuts to the hospital, and Homer's being shocked with the defibrillator, in which he's asking
He's
for
gesturing
more.
with his hand.
Homer's heartbeat comes back, and Marge just runs into the room to see that Homer is perfectly all right. Homer mentions that his life flashed before his eyes, and we cut to Homer's flashback, which includes him as a baby eating a slice of pizza. And as Abe asks how Homer got that,
I love the nurse just being like,
We also then see Homer singing in a choir, and Abe being excited that Homer's going to make him a fortune. Unfortunately, Homer's voice drops at that exact
my
moment.
voice changed. And also his face slightly changes.
This is also supposedly a nod to the film Empire of the Sun. I'm not sure.
You're a nod to the film Empire of the Sun.
I'm not familiar enough with it to know, but that, given what I've read about the plot synopsis on Wikipedia, I'm struggling to follow how that works, given that it's about an internment camp in the Second World War. So I really don't quite get the connection.
That's how you make me feel with this podcast.
Yep.
Dag nabbit, as Abe would say.
Dag nabbit.
We then go to Dr. Hibbert revealing to Homer he's had a heart attack, and Homer says that means that Homer thinks it means he's out of the woods, because whatever doesn't kill him makes him stronger. And
just before we go on to this other funny bit, did anyone notice when Marge came into the hospital that Apu had been shot again?
Yep.
Oh yes, we forgot the entirety of the
Apu's been shot.
Jack is stuck in a ball.
Yeah.
Jax is stuck in a bowling ball. The karate guy's arm is stuck in a board.
Groundskeeper Willie has like both his arms broken, seemingly for no reason.
Oh yeah, I missed that one. Yeah.
And we also get the scene of Sideshow Mel in a cannon.
I tell you, it's not going to work.
They're trying to get him out of the cannon by lighting it. It's like, that won't work, and lo and behold, it does not.
Yeah, why would you do that in a hospital?
I've got to get him out.
Yeah, well, no, that's fair. That's fair. Where else are you going to get him out?
Moving back ahead, as Homer declares that whatever kills him will make him stronger, Dr. Hibbert declares it's the opposite, and he's now as weak as a kitten. Dr. Hibbert demonstrates this by beating the shit out of Homer.
Dr. Hibbert just being an absolute psycho.
He doesn't beat the shit out of him,
no,
but
he
he's
tortures
like,
him.
Yeah.
God,
he's slapping him, slapping him,
slap.
poking him in the stomach.
He is a representation of everything a doctor actually wants to do to annoying patients.
I mean, also, there's a great line from Homer in there that I don't think I ever recall picking up on before, where Homer is feebly is like, remember your hippopotamus oath.
As Marge asks Dr. Hibbert if she can do anything for him, Dr. Hibbert says that he can't fix his heart, but he can tell him exactly how damaged it is.
What an age
Homer
we
declares,
live in.
We then see that Homer is standing at the X-ray machine, and Dr. Hibbert says that the radioactive dye they've injected into his blood is now showing it.
Yeah, I saw this
The
joke
nurse saying-
coming a mile away.
The nurse then runs in and declares that she hasn't actually put the dye in him, and Dr. Hibbert is horrified as Homer just says, "Hi."
I just love Dr. Hibbert's like really quiet and doomed. Dear God.
Good Lord. Yeah.
Oh, it's good Lord, isn't it? Good Lord. And Homer just be like, hello.
Well, then we get the fat analysis test, which is Dr.
Oh,
Hibbert is
God.
going to start Homer jiggling and seeing how long it takes. Homer starts jiggling, and
Look at
Homer
that blubber go.
Dr. Hibbert has to cancel his 1 o'clock.
That's about 1 o'clock.
We then cut to the next scene, and Dr. Hibbert tells Homer he's got to go undergo a coronary bypass procedure. And Homer asks for him to be told this in English. And Dr. Hibbert says, "You're going to need open heart surgery." And Homer wants to be spared the mumbo jumbo. And eventually it comes down to cut you open and tinker with your ticket. And Homer wants
dumb
it
it
dumbed
down for me.
again. Marge says they'll do whatever it takes, and Dr. Hibbert warns them that the procedure will cost $30,000. We then see that Homer has collapsed off screen, and we just hear Dr. Hibbert reveals that it's now $40,000.
The wonders of the American medical system. It costs
We also-
20 grand just to have a child.
We also forgot the scene where Chief Wiggum's jaw was locked open,
Oh, yes.
and
yeah.
Oh yeah, do you
And
know
Ruth
this
probably-
actually happens to me? I think I've told this story before of how I dislocated my jaw and didn't go to the doctor.
Oh.
So now this
Okay.
just happens. So every now and
Oh.
then my jaw will just completely lock or fall out of place. Genuinely will fall out.
You need to stop eating massive sandwiches then.
So,
No.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I can't argue with that.
Do local police officers stick their fists in while Bad Cops plays in the background?
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I make most of my money.
Oh dear. We then cut to Homer and Marge in bed, and we see that they're going through whether or not they can afford the operation. It turns out there's only $70 in the checking account.
Have we
Oh, just so
deposited
much-
any $40,000 checks that we
$40,000
that haven't cleared yet?
Unfortunately, that is not the case. Marge asks if they've got a health plan at work, and Homer reveals that they gave it up for a pinball machine.
Is this
But,
the first time
Homer-
Marge says dough?
I think it is, yeah.
But Homer tells Marge not to worry because America's healthcare system is only second to Japan and Canada and Sweden. Maybe not Great Britain anymore.
I think it would have been
I
in
mean-
1982.
The rest of Europe here, yes. But we can be fortunate that they don't live in Paraguay, but this leads to Marge weeping. Homer tries to work around this by going to the Happy Widows insurance,
So
Company?
dark.
Mm.
and we see that Homer is going to be asked some questions about his health insurance application.
Oh no,
and,
my
Homer
scheme.
Homer starts panicking before he gets himself under control, and the clerk says that under heart attacks, Homer crossed out 3 and wrote 0. Homer's excuse for this is he thought they meant brain hemorrhages.
What does that mean, Homer? What does that mean? What were you thinking you got away with there?
Then asks Homer if he drinks, and Homer just says he has some port at
A
Christmas.
snifter of port at Christmas. Yeah.
Yo, do you guys drink port?
I have a
Port is-
snifter of port at Christmas.
Port is fire, man. I love that shit.
It's a
It
very,
is like-
very sweet wine.
It is like drinking alcoholic jam. It's awesome.
They're great. Yeah. Aldi a couple of years ago had some 40-year-old port that for some reason they just absolutely
Yes, I
could
got
not
that.
sell.
I
And
got
they just
that.
kept
It's
reducing
so
it and
good.
reducing it and reducing it. And I kept hanging on till it was like 25 quid for a bottle of liquid that's older than me. I'm like, yes.
It's so good. It was so good, right?
Yeah, it was great.
I love
My
port.
dad drank most of it, but what I tried was great.
It's settled. I'm coming over for Christmas and we're just going to get pissed on port and hang out at the beach.
Oh yeah, you love a beach. It took me a minute.
Well, you just thinking we were gonna go like in a waterlogged county, get drunk, and then be like, let's walk to Scarborough.
Yeah, beach.
I've probably done stupider things while drinking heavily before, so walking to Scarborough on port seems like normal for me.
Yeah.
As Homer is about to mock the guy to get his health insurance policy, he tells Homer he's got to sign it first, and as Homer's about to sign it, he has another heart attack. The guy starts trying to drag the form away from him as Homer's desperately trying to sign it.
I made an
Made
H.
an
Homer,
H.
Despite Homer's protest that that's like an X. Homer is the guy tells Homer they need to get him an ambulance, but Homer asks for a free calendar and gets it.
Yeah, I love the like weird sympathy from the guys. Like, okay,
We then cut to Homer again being under the defibrillator, and Homer reveals that he was in a very happy place that was filled with fire and brimstone and
people in
pointy
red
devils rising
pajamas poking him
pajamas
in the butt
poking-
with pitchforks.
Hibbert despairs that Homer really needs to get that operation, but Homer can't afford it. His solution to this is maybe just to get himself a defibrillator machine.
Yeah, this is, I mean, defibrillator gag aside, it's a horrifying commentary on the American healthcare system where it's like, yeah, we can save your life, you are going to die, but we won't do it unless you pay us 40 grand. It's like, oh, Jesus, that's how you people live.
Yeah, it's also that weird thing of like they will keep reviving you because they're like, we won't let you die. Like if you're in the hospital and you start dying, we won't let you die.
Yeah.
But
You're going to be charged.
beyond,
Yeah,
we'll charge you
one
for that. and
assumes
then beyond-
Homer is being charged a lot of money for all this defibrillation as well.
Yeah, his bill is just going up.
To resolve this problem, Homer visits Reverend Joy and declares he's not been the best Christian. And in fact, when Reverend Joy is up there yakking, he's either sleeping or mentally undressing the female
Aren't
parishioners.
we all?
Homer just ends this by asking for the $40,000, which Lovejoy obviously does not agree to, because in the next scene we see that Homer is
Krusty's
with the rabbi.
dad.
Homer reveals that he's not the best Jew, but he's planning to watch a copy of Fiddler of the Roof. Is that can he have 40 grand? And then we see that obviously didn't go well, and we then see that Homer is now at another religious thing. I think this is Hindu.
Yes, I.
Let's
question mark?
avoid
I'm not certain.
definitives in order to not
Yeah.
offend anyone.
It is, if nothing else, it is the yogi guy that the Simpsons go to when the kids are at camp who tells them that their neck is like a well-cooked piece of asparagus. They bring him back for a reference.
Nice.
Homer doesn't even bother asking him. He just gives up.
Yeah, I know I've not been the best. What the hell?
Then see that Homer's at home and reveals that he was unsuccessful, but the rabbi gave him a dreidel. And Bart asks what it's called, and he calls it a droodle.
Droodle. Look at it go!
Fortunately, at this moment, the TV has Dr. Nick appear, and Dr. Nick is doing his advert for cheap discount surgery. Homer's about to turn it off because it's boring, but Marge stops him. And Dr. Nick reveals that he'll do any operation for $129. And if you come in for brain surgery, you get
Excuse
a
me.
free
Whoa.
Chinese.
$129.95.
Don't forget the 95 cents.
Ah, right. But if you come in for brain surgery, you get a free Chinese finger trap, and we just see a man with a brain scar trying to get
It's
stuff out
so
of his
weird.
Chinese finger trap.
Mm.
Dr. Hibbert's ending line is, "You've tried the best, now try the rest."
And it's also called
And,
1-800-DOCTORB. The B is for bargain.
That's a line which just lives rent-free in my head.
Yeah.
Just every so often, just the line 1-800-DOCTORB. Just inserts itself in my brain.
Dr. Nick is Hank Azaria as well, isn't it?
I believe he
Yeah.
is, yes. Homer says they could do worse, and Marge's response of how is fantastic here. And Homer's response to this is the dog could do the operation. The kids pick up on the word operation, and Marge tries to tell Homer not to tell the kids because they'll get upset, but Homer says he's going to give them the truth and not sugarcoat it, and then we see that he was doing a puppet show to explain the complexities of heart surgery, and Lisa then just points out, asks him by using all the technical terms, and Homer's somewhat abashed. Bart declares that this means if it goes wrong, he won't have a dad for a while.
Yeah, that was dark.
As Lisa starts crying, and Homer declares that he's not going to die because only bad people die. Bart's response to this is, "What about Abraham Lincoln?" And Homer says he was selling poison milk to school children.
Why was Marge so upset about this? This remark
lying
about
about
Abraham
Lincoln.
Lincoln, she was like, "Don't you dare drag Abraham Lincoln's name through the mud."
We see that Homer is now in the hospital and he's using the automatic bed for entertainment. And we see that Flanders is in the bed next to him, and Flanders reveals that he's giving up a lung and a kidney, and Homer asks to who, and Flanders just
First
says,
come,
first
first
come, first serve.
I don't think that's how transplants work. But
No.
Okay.
Shouldn't do that.
As Homer declares he's got a bad heart, Flanders says he would give Homer his heart if he could, and Homer tells him to shut up. At this point, Dr. Nick introduces himself,
Hi,
he's
everybody.
and he's immediately called over to report to the coroner, and Nick's response to this is, "I'm so sick of that guy."
Well, see you in the
Does he-
operating place.
As he opens the door, there's loads of media and journalists, and Dave Shutton asks him where the bodies are, and Dr. Nick decides it's such a beautiful,
Such a beautiful
day. He's going out
day.
the window.
I'll take the window.
Then it cuts to the next scene, and Ned Flanders is praying for baby ducks, and Ziggy comments. And the Oldies volumes 1, 2, and 4 obviously wasn't a fan of 3.
Probably not.
Who would be?
This prompts Homer to start praying, but as he's getting into the full flow of it, the nurse tells him to shut up by pointing to the no praying sign.
Why was Flanders allowed to pray?
Because she couldn't see him because of the curtain.
What a bitch.
Yeah. And then cuts to the next scene, and the kids are in Sunday school, and she starts with the thing of that's why God causes train wrecks, and everyone is reasonably impressed that was indeed the explanation.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's God works in mysterious ways kind of thing, yeah.
Lisa then asks what would happen if Homer dies, and the Sunday school teacher says if he's being good, he'll go to heaven, and he'll be able to do whatever he wants best in the world. Lisa just imagines Homer in his angel form on a cloud
goes
going up and down.
Cloud goes down. Cloud goes up. Cloud goes down.
Back in the hospital, as Homer's doing this with his actual bed, and we see that Krusty comes in, and this horrifies Homer. Krusty asks what the problem is, then realizes it's his own grotesque appearance. But Homer says that he wishes he could have some laughter right now, and Krusty says there's nothing funny about what he's about to go through, revealing that he's in the Zipper Club before he starts smoking his cigarette.
He points out it's all for his community service after the horrific car accident that he caused.
For the glug glug vroom vroom thump thump, yes.
Yeah. Homer says that Krusty seems okay, but Krusty reveals that he isn't actually wearing makeup.
Yeah, this isn't makeup!
Which apparently is Matt Groening's favourite line from The Simpsons of all time.
What an odd boy.
We then see Grandpa visiting Homer, and Grandpa says that the greatest tragedy in life is a father outliving his son. Grandpa says he doesn't understand why people say that because he can see the upside to it. And we then see that Lenny and Carl visit with a get well card, which is obviously an emergency procedure sign that they've just ripped off the wall. Carl says that they've had a hard time replacing him, and we see that Homer has been replaced by a brick.
Yeah.
And then cuts to Barney and Moe, and Barney starts saying he was against the operation. But Marty thought about it. If Homer wants to be a woman, he's going to allow it.
Yeah, okay.
Good to know that Barney's trans-positive, though.
He is weirdly affirming, yeah, sure.
Yes. Barney's dismayed to learn that Homer is not getting a sex change because he bought him a jumbo thong bikini, which is rather unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to use that now?
Moe reveals that he snuck Homer in a beer, and Homer is quite pleased as he starts drinking it. But Moe reveals that the beer isn't actually
The beer ain't free.
Then see that Homer's finally been visited by his family, and as Homer says that if he should die, Marge is going to be lonely. Marge says that she'll never actually remarry, but Homer says, damn right, because he wants himself stuffed and put onto the couch.
Reminder of our marital vows. I want to point out that your marital vows contain "till death do us part." But
yeah, I've
whatever.
skipped forward a couple scenes here because we have both Lisa and Dr. Nick learning heart surgery.
Oh, why is that not on here? Oh, they put this out of order.
Don't know. I've just got Frankie Ack.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. The thing is put this in a different order.
Oh, weird.
But yes. Yes, you're right. Lisa is reading books on cardiology and mentions to Marge that Homer's heart will be stopped for 6 whole minutes, and Marge says that she's not happy about Lisa reading these books, and Lisa says it's oddly reassuring. And she then happens to pull out a car heart that was in a chest drawer that she's just been studying.
Yep,
horrifies Marge.
Just keeping that on deck, just in case. Yeah, okay.
Yep, just in case.
What the fuck, Lisa?
Yeah, what the fuck, Lisa?
We then cut to Dr. Nick learning the procedure from a videotape, and we see that Dr. Nick is grossed out by the sight of blood, which is not
blood.
Oh, blood.
As we're getting to the crucial part of the operation, tape something goes off, and it's now an episode of People Who Look Like Things. And Dr. Nick is horrified to learn that this has been taped over. And we see visual gags of people looking like things, which include a kettle, a pumpkin, a broomstick.
Yep.
One of the man who looks like a pumpkin says they just want respect and dignity, and the host mocks him by saying he wants a new candle now and then, and Pumpkin Man is not happy about it.
No, why would you be? How dare he?
We're cutting back to the scene that I skipped ahead to about 100 miles ago. Lisa and Bart finally come in, and Homer wants to give them some parting words for them to remember him by if something goes wrong.
Guys, this was really sad.
He can't actually think of anything, so Lisa starts whispering in his ear, and Homer says that he's proud of Bart, and Bart will become will turn into a great man even without Homer around.
Mm-hmm.
And Homer can't think anything for Lisa, so Bart goes in to whisper into his ear. And Homer
You're
reveals
adopted
to
and I
Lisa
don't
that she's
like you.
adopted and like you. But Bart does eventually whisper something nice in there. And Homer says that her big brother loves her and will look after her. This leads to a very nice hug. But then I think we could come back to the actual scene where Homer is about to go under for surgery and Dr. Nick welcomes everybody. We see it's being done in front of an audience, including people making out and eating popcorn.
As you do.
Lisa sits in, which is probably for the best, all things considered. Dr. Nick says that if anything goes wrong, please let's not get the law involved.
Yeah, one hand washes the other, which reminds me.
We then see that he got his gloves free with a toilet brush, and as Homer's going under, Dr. Nick walks in front of him and goes, "What the hell is that?" We then cut to several other scenes where we see that Marge is in the waiting room with Bart, and Patty and Selma bring in Andre.
Yo, Andre,
And so-
though.
And they say that
He
they think
kind
they'd
of
make
looks drunk, to be fair, though.
I mean, it's Andre.
Selma says they think they'd make a perfect couple, and Marge reveals that Homer is not actually dead yet. And as Patty sarcastically says, "I hope he pulls through."
I do.
Andre just says nope.
Andre gets
Not
it.
me.
Andre gets it. Andre's always on game.
We cut to Moe's and all the barflies are around, and Moe says they're going to have a minute of silent prayer for their good friend Homer. They all go into the silence, and we get a few seconds of silence before Bonnie asks how long it's been, and Moe says 6 seconds. Bonnie then asks if they have to start over, and Moe says hell no. Then see it, Tapu is looking sad in his shop, thinking if his snack treats are responsible for Homer's poor health. A customer comes in asking for some jerky.
Would you like some vodka
who
with
asks
that?
if
Would you like some vodka? Oh, God.
and the customer goes, "Sure, why the hell not?"
My favourite thing of ever working at McDonald's was when someone came in and just ordered fries, and I got to say, "Would you like fries with that?"
Brilliant. Did they want fries with it?
They did, actually. They wanted more fries.
Oh, cool.
I managed to get an upsell from a meme.
Brilliant.
I'm not going to say no to more fries.
Well, they had to pay for them. I think. I hope I
We did-
charged them. Actually, you know what? I hope I didn't charge them.
Take that, corporation.
Fuck you, McDonald's. This has been a very fuck McDonald's episode today.
This is fine.
See that Dr. Nick is starting to panic as the nurse asks him if he actually knows where to make the incision. And as Dr. Nick tries to think back to medical school, we then see him in his college dorm telling all the pretty ladies that he can prescribe whatever he
Prescribe
wants.
whatever I want.
This Dr. Nick wonders what he's supposed to do. Lisa finally bangs on the window to tell him that he's got to make the incision below the pocket. Dr. Nick says, "Thank you, little girl," just takes this advice as gospel.
Yep.
And starts performing the surgery, which he starts doing with a bit of a sing-song of the ventricles connected to the red thing, the red thing's connected to the something, the something's connected to my wristwatch.
Oh, no.
Brilliant.
Uh-oh. We never quite see how that situation resolves itself, but the
Well, we
next scene,
do, because the
Dr.
operation was a complete success.
Oh, woo!
as Dr. Nick comes out and his hair does a nice gleam.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was weird.
I guess his hair's that greasy, is what they were going for. The family hug as Dr. Nick walks away satisfied, but he's accosted by presumably somebody like one of his old patients, who is Mr. McGregor, who has an arm for a leg, a leg for an arm, and an arm for a leg.
Yeah, a oddly memorable bit of
What a
this episode
weird bit.
compared to most of it.
It is stupid, but I do like the fact it is gloriously stupid. We then see that Homer is recovering in the intensive care, and the family are all happy. Marge sheds a tear of joy. And then we cut to the box again with Homer's heart, which is doing the Simpsons outro.
Yeah.
It stops for a moment, and Homer has to bang on it.
He thumps
Yeah,
it.
It does end.
Yeah, they chose this slightly more upbeat ending compared to
What, Homer died?
no, well, I don't mean compared to dying. No, like the first draft had him. It was kind of a nod to the baby scene earlier, where he was in intensive care and he has a slice of pizza again.
All right.
But they decided that was probably poor taste and had him just recover.
Guys, imagine if
Yeah.
Homer had just died and this was the end. And it's like, Homer's gone now. Now it's about a struggling wife who lives in an extremely expensive house in a world full of debt. Now that her husband,
it's
who earned
fine.
$100,000 a year, is dead.
No, it's fine. She marries Andre, and Homer's lifeless corpse is on the couch.
Yeah, you're right. Andre gets it.
I mean, Marge has proven that she can basically do Homer's job anyway, so she could have an 80 grand a year
This is
job.
also true.
That's the bang, Mr. Burns.
There is that.
Don't we all?
What did we think this episode, considering the multiple of sidetracks to avoid talking about
I
it?
actually did really like this episode. I liked it a lot more than the previous one. I think this episode's really fun.
Okay, I thought it was too heavy. No, it's heavy subject matter, and trying to deal with that subject matter, and like you've got emotional bits and you've got like dark bits, and it just ultimately doesn't make room for it being like a light-hearted comedy show anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like
I
it doesn't
think
quite hit the right
it-
notes for me.
It depends on the person watching it, and I think it depends on the experiences that you've had in life.
Maybe.
What you think of this episode?
Yeah,
Maybe.
probably.
I'm kind of, without going too personally into it, I have had situations with people that I know that have had heart trouble. So
Yeah. I can imagine
I
it hitting,
get
a little bit,
limit.
hitting
I
very
get. I
close to
get.
home for
I
some
get.
people.
I get limited humor out of it. I mean, I appreciate it as a whole episode. I think it's fine, but
I am a
It's not-
heartless bastard, pun intended. So I found it quite funny.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. There are some funny moments in it. Dr. Nick's whole bit in the episode is
Yeah.
hilarious. He's the best bit.
Yeah, it's definitely got some good gags, but like on the whole, yeah, for me it fell a little bit flat.
Like my heart. I give it the reality of the American medical system out of Homer. It's only funny because we don't have to
Jesus.
deal with it.
That is the
Okay.
most bleak Homer I think we've ever
Yeah,
done.
I hope so.
John, what's your Homer?
I get the Knight's Plutonian Shore out of Homer
You nerd.
because it was extremely dark and I wanted to get an Edgar Allan Poe reference in.
Very good. I'm giving it 129.95 out of Homer.
That's a lot.
It's
Sounds like a lot.
It's
Yeah.
It's a great discount price, but some of the quality might be suspect.
All right. Well, it's a higher number than Nate Myers gave it, who gave it 4.5 out of 5.
What did he give the previous episode?
Good point. 3 out of 5. And I don't think we did Mr. Plow. He gave Mr. Plow 5 out of 5 just for completion's sake.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, in terms of society, this episode is just like a massive indictment of the American medical system. There
Basically
really is
that,
no
yeah.
like if, ands, or buts there. That is just what it is.
It is. As with so much, it's like I don't necessarily know how much of that was knowing. I think it was just an observation of life in America at the time.
Yeah, it's
and
not a
like, yep,
deliberate
this is just
attack
the
on the
lived
American
reality.
medical system.
No.
It is just, this is what life in America is like. This is America.
As far as writers go, I think it was always going to be a little light on trying to say or do anything because they got some guest writers in for this. Like,
Yeah.
apparently this season they had like a writer shortage, so they just had to like get some guys to write episodes. So they
Some guys.
Gary Apple and Michael Carrington wrote this one, who I don't think wrote a lot of Simpsons, probably nothing more than this, and then they had the regular writers kind of punch it up a bit afterwards.
Yeah.
If all we're going to say is American medical system, then yeah,
Let's wrap it
let's
up.
do some ads.
Baby. I swear to God, I'll record an episode of Arnie soon. Please stop asking.
Well, your guest's about to go on holiday, so...
Right, well, we'll record it after
Tomorrow.
his holiday.
No? Okay.
Yeah. Yes, we will do it. We'll sort it.
Alrighty.
But Matt, are you still not doing anything social media wise?
No,
Are you
fuck
still...
off. Leave me alone.
Yeah,
Don't
well,
contact me.
You can find me on the Twitter at the B Mash Horse. In solidarity, I've joined a certain one of our hosts on Blue Sky.
I'm also
can
on
find
Blue
me at-
Sky. Just don't contact me.
You can find me at Button Mash Horse if you particularly like to.
I love that you're still going with that in spite of the fact that Button Mash as an entity is kind of just like not really much of a going concern anymore.
I invested time and effort in this gimmick.
It's a commitment.
You've just got to become the guy that plays fighting games in a horse mask.
Yeah, that's the
That's basically it, yeah.
backup. That's
the
the
deal.
backup plan.
As observed last time, I'm sort of hanging around on Blue Sky more than Twitter these days, so I'm at Maroka on Blue Sky. We are still Moleman Pod on Twitter if you want to get notifications that I've posted a thing. Or you could subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave a comment, like and subscribe, and all of these things. Other such nonsense. Anything else doing? I don't think I got anything else doing.
Bye, everybody.
bye.
You stole my bit. Well, as Fred Durst says, we're going to keep moling.
Keep moving.
Oh, goodbye.
Goodbye.